Today, I want to explain why Paradox Rift is possibly one of the most underrated investments that you can make right now. Everyone at the moment is focused on Surging Sparks, Twilight Masquerade, 151, and Paldea Evolved. These are the sets that everyone is talking about where all the hype is. But nobody is talking about Paradox Rift. I feel like Paradox Rift is a very weird set in the way that I feel like literally nobody talks about it. People talk about, Obsidian Flames, Temporal Forces way more than Paradox Rift. Paradox Rift is just very strange. And it's weird because I feel like Paradox Rift really isn't a bad set at all, but nobody talks about it. Paradox Rift was released on November 3rd of 2023, so just about a year ago. And when you look at the prices of these booster boxes, you can see the market price is $104 after a whole year. These booster boxes right now are just as expensive as Scarlet and Violet base booster boxes, and I think everyone can agree that Paradox Rift is a better set than Scarlet and Violet base. And take into account that Scarlet and Violet base had a pretty big reprint. These boxes tanked to $80, but they've recovered all the way to $100. So Paradox Rift, a year old, I don't think they had a reprint yet of booster boxes, but they're still only $104. How is this happening? And when you go on eBay, you can even find them cheaper for $104. You can see here the cheapest listing is $104. You can go on eBay and you can find a lot of them for just about $100. And this set is a year old. It is so strange to see a set that's a year old that's not a bad set be only $104. It's very weird, especially because Scarlet and Violet, a lot of the sets in Scarlet and Violet have been moving a lot recently. I mean, we've seen Obsidian Flames move up, we've seen Temporal move up, we've seen 151 Twilight Masquerade. All these boxes have been moving recently, but Paradox Rift is getting left behind and is very strange. And this is where I feel, if you're a value buyer, Paradox Rift could possibly be a very good investment if you don't have any boxes of Paradox Rift right now, because this is still the same price as release and it's a year after. So in terms of time and supply drying up on the market, it's already been a year of that for Paradox Rift. So when you think about times when these are going to start moving, Paradox Rift, it seems that it should start moving pretty soon here. In the past month, it really hasn't done anything. And but when you look, you can see in the past 3 months, it's like slowly moving up. But I would barely even call this any movement. It's literally a few dollars. But it has to be time where I feel like these gotta be, getting to the point where they're gonna go up in price. This is not the most high demand set, but I just feel like the supply and this long it's been out for, there has to be a time where it's gonna start moving. And I feel like we're about that point right now. And when you look at Paradox Rift, the set, it's not a bad set at all. It's not the most outstanding set out there, but it's a pretty good set, which is why I'm so surprised still that the booster box is so cheap. The Groudon card is definitely that card that everyone is looking for in the set. It's just an illustration rare, but it's like the same for the Magikarp and Paldea Evolved. It's just an illustration rare, but it's a popular Pokemon and the artwork is pretty cool. The Roaring Moon is the second chase card, and then after that, these aren't very expensive. This is not, like I said, the most outstanding set out there, but it's a decent set. And the fact that this is a year old and still at release price, it's pretty crazy to me. I really don't think the artwork is that bad at all. And at its price, I think it's a pretty good pickup. Now, comparing this to other sets that are around as old as Paradox Rift, I want to compare it to Obsidian Flames. Obsidian Flames was released a little bit before Paradox Rift. Obsidian Flames is obviously the Charizard set. The market price right now is going for around $120. And you can see recently these have moved, just like basically every other Scarlet and Violet set other than Paradox Rift. They've moved all the way up to $120. And Obsidian Flames, arguably in my opinion, other than it having a Charizard, is a worse overall set than Paradox Rift. It just doesn't have that great artwork in it. Like, it just has the Charizard card and that's it. But I think that's literally the only reason why it's been moving. But arguably the artwork in the set isn't that great. But it's been moving all the way up to $120 just recently, and Paradox Rift is still sitting at $104. So this is where I see value in Paradox Rift and buying into it as of right now, is that it's a decent set. It's just as old as some of these sets that I'm showing you, like Obsidian Flames, and it's cheaper. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense, and this is where I feel the price corrections are going to start to happen. Yeah, it's just very weird that Paradox Rift is a half decent set and it's still cheaper than Obsidian Flames, which is arguably a worse set. Then Temporal Forces. Honestly, in my opinion, Temporal Forces is better than Paradox Rift, which is why I have Temporal Forces booster boxes. But Temporal Forces is newer than Paradox Rift. It was released on March 22nd of 2024, so a few months after Paradox Rift. And Temporal Forces, the booster box is the same thing with Obsidian Flames. You can see the movements are like exactly the same. Like when you look at these, like they're literally the exact same because they were all moving around at the same time. These are now $115. Temporal Forces and Paradox Rift at a certain point were like the exact same price, which is why I decided to go with Temporal Forces. But now it's moved up to 115. And you can see here that what I mean by Temporal Forces being a better set than Paradox, it's just a deeper set. It has a lot more expensive chase cards. I just like the artwork better. That's just in my opinion, which is why I decided to pick up Temporal Forces over Paradox Rift. At the time, they were around the same price, and these have moved up a little bit since then when I bought them. But yeah, it's very weird. Paradox Rift, no one talks about it, but as it is right now in its price, this has to be a very low risk buy, and it just already had time to just get supply off the market. But obviously the demand for the set really isn't all there because I just feel like it's being overshadowed. Paldea Evolved, Twilight Masquerade, and Surging Sparks, all of these sets. I guess I forgot to mention Stellar Crown, but I feel like Stellar Crown no one's really talking about either. Just no one is like talking about these sets, and I feel like these are the ones where they're really good opportunities, especially for those that haven't got into Paradox Rift boxes, because this is literally release prices. Like you're getting the same price that you would have been getting at release, and it's a year already into it. So there's a lot of value in sets like these, in my opinion, where they've already had time to get old and they're still the exact same price at that they were at release. And this set, you can see it, is not bad at all. It has a pretty strong chase card Groudon, which is just a normal illustration rare, but people really like it. This is a pretty good buy. I mean, at $100, that's super cheap. So this is the value I see in Paradox Rift, and there's people definitely out there that are talking about Paradox Rift, but a lot of people are just focused on the hype, and I guess that's where a lot of people. I mean, it works out a lot of the times with the hype. I mean, look at Twilight Masquerade; it was hyped up and it kept going up. It's at 160, 170 now. But in terms of value buying and opportunity, I feel like Paradox Rift has to be one of the best ones out there. Even Scarlet and Violet base, they're $100, but Scarlet and Violet base is almost 2 years old now, and it already got a reprint. And in my opinion, Scarlet and Violet base is one of the best base sets out there that has been released. I mean, the Miriam card is really nice. The Gardevoir card, like, it's a pretty good base set. So even those at its price, I mean, you could have bought them at $80 not too long ago, and now they're like 90 to 100. So yeah, it's more expensive, and there's definitely other boxes you can buy, and probably no one's gonna even care for buying base set boxes or base Scarlet Violet boxes. I almost just said regular base set, but these are opportunities, and you got to think about time and the value in that. Where yes, you can maybe say in the future there's going to be better sets you can spend $100 or better boxes you can buy for $100, like the Gym Hero set that's coming in the future. Like, why don't I just spend my $100 on that? Yeah, you can, but if you want to diversify and get some other products that maybe you didn't pick up, I feel like Paradox Rift definitely is one that is a pretty good pickup that I feel like is going to move up sometime soon. But that's just my opinion. So that's all I want to say today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you on the next one.